Do not forget that tables and figures could also be used in this section. When meaning elements or factors like microbial strain or mutants in biology, you need to provide corresponding strain or mutants tables presenting the source and the properties of mutants, bacteriophages, plasmids, etc. If there are various chemical compounds, you need to depend on tables to display their properties, which benefits both authors and readers. Figures also can aid in presenting methods. Examples include flow charts of experimental protocols and diagrams of experimental apparatus. Even though this section is closely related to the results section, do not make the common error by including some of the results in this section. There is only one rule for properly written material and methods section. Enough information must be given so that the experiments could be reproduced by a competent peer. Your peer can really be a good helper to you. A good test, by the way, and a good way to avoid rejection of your manuscript is to give a copy of your finished manuscript to a peer and ask if he or she can follow the methodology. It's quite possible that in reading about your materials and methods, your peer will figure out your error that you missed simply because you were too close to the work. For example, you might have described your apparatus, procedure, and products with infinite care, but then neglected to define some related conditions or terms. Mistakes in grammar and punctuation are not always serious. The meaning of general concepts must be expressed accurately and pay more attention to the syntax. To be specific, for the purpose of clear expression in the section of materials and methods, exact and specific items to be defined with precise and flexible application of English is a must. Be careful of the dangling participle I have mentioned in the previous chapters. And even a missing comma can cause havoc. Authors often are advised, quite rightly, to minimize use of passive voice. However, in the materials and methods section, as in the current paragraph, passive voice often can validly be used. Or although what was done must be specified, who did it is often irrelevant. Thus, you may write For example, mice were injected with, rather than I injected the mice with. A technician injected the mice with, or a student injected the mice with. Alternatively, you may say, for example, we injected, even if a single member of the team did that part of the work. Because the materials and methods section usually gives short, discrete bits of information, the writing sometimes becomes telescopic. Details essential to the meaning may then be omitted. The most common error is to state the action without, when necessary, stating the agent of the action. In a sentence, to determine its respiratory quotient, the organisms was. The only stated agent of the action is the organism. And without that, the organism was capable of making such a determination. Blood samples were taken from 48 informed and consenting patients. The subjects ranged in age from 6 months to 22 years. There is no grammatical problem with that sentence, but the telescopic writing leaves the reader wondering just how the 6-month-old infants gave their informed consent. And of course, always watch for spelling errors, both in the manuscript and in the proofs. 我用中文总结本章内容。方法部分应包含足够的信息，以供其他研究者准确重复你描述的实验。如果其中有关键信息遗漏，别人就无法完全重复你的实验条件，这会引起结果不一致，有可能造成误会，甚至还会被人指责造假。所以方法部分要力求全面，方法部分应该使用过去时态。例如 ，sections were stamped with, and the data were analyzed using。但是在提及图表时，应使用现在时。例如 ，The students' characteristics are listed in Table 1。此外，当你在叙述某个事物的定义或当前对它公认的看法时，也要用现在时。例如 ，The cells were subjected to hypoxia, which induces HIF1 expression。这句话中，虽然实验部分是用的过去时，但由于缺氧 hypoxia 导致 HIF1 是一个普遍现象，而不是限定于本文的结果。因此，后面半句应该用现在时。而列出所有试剂的供应商以及设备的厂家，有的期刊还要求列出其地址及国家、州，如为美国和市。叙述设备、试剂盒、试剂的时候，应该用常用术语来具体描述，不要只用厂商的专门术语或只写型号。方法部分只能包括最终 得出结果的实验方法。如果某个实验失败了，或者没能提供你需要的结果，而且你已经决定论文中不提这些结果，那么也没有必要去谈其实验方法。用清楚的子标题列出用于不同目的的方法和材料。如果期刊设有方法补充 （supplementary methods） 部分，则可用这部分来详述细节，并让纸面刊出的方法部分保持简短。新方法应该详细叙述，以便他人重复。标准和常用技术只需引用文献即可。但如果你的方法和文献有差异之处，应予说明。尤其要保证所有单位都正确，实验条件如时间、温度都清楚。最后，如果开展了统计学分析来评价研究结果的意义，则应在方法的最后一段叙述你的统计学方法，包括所选择的显著性与值。总体来说，注意以下几点：一、用清楚的子标题列出用于不同目的的方法和材料。二、研究方法用过去式。三、新方法给出充足的细节，以便他人重复。四、已有方法可用参考文献。五、写明厂家、供应商，必要时应提供地址。六、说明所采用的统计学方法。七、描述应准确。